So now you've learned about how to really manage yourself in regards to fluency, coherence, and also your lexical ability. Now, in this lecture, we're going to hit on the finer points of grammar accuracy and range. Grammar is a really important concept when it comes to doing very well on the speaking section of the course. You want to truly master your foundational grammar because it's very impressive to an examiner when you're able to speak with mistake-free sentences. Let me say this about grammar. When you actually get into the exam, when you actually are starting your real exam with the examiner, don't worry about your grammar at that point. At that point, whatever grammar you know, you know. Because very often what happens is students get very self-conscious of their grammar during the exam, and they end up hurting their score in regards to pronunciation, fluency, coherence, and also their lexical ability. So now let's move forward and I'll explain the band descriptor for grammar, and I hope at the end of this lecture you'll have a really good idea of what you need to do to score well. Right, so grammar range, we're dealing with really probably the best way I can explain this is really when you look at the difference between a basic level English student and an advanced level English student. A basic level English student uses a lot of simple sentences, and sometimes they can use a compound sentence correctly. An advanced level student is able to really do the four main sentence types very well, meaning the simple, the compound, the complex, and the compound complex sentences. They also can use words like, or you use, combinations like not only but also, both and. They can speak in the conditionals. They can use the relative clauses very well. So when you talk about bands 8 and 9 in terms of grammar, we really are talking about the range, being able to use them flexibly. Also, what's really impressive to graders is when you're able to speak in mistake-free sentences. If you're making grammar errors in every single sentence, you're going to have a hard time getting a really great score. Also, one thing that's really helpful is to be strong in your foundation, your foundational level skills, right? Your foundational grammar. When the examiner hears mistakes in basic level grammar, it doesn't bode well for getting a really high score on the rubric in terms of grammar. So here are some ways to improve your grammatical range, right? Like I said earlier, master those four sentence types. Master the proper verb tense. A lot of the questions are going to be in the past tense. Sometimes it's in the present and future also, but use the verb tense that's proper for the question. Okay? Also, if you really want to score well, show that you can do the perfect tenses. Also, maybe be able to change how you start a sentence. Sometimes you might start a sentence with the prepositional phrase. Sometimes you might start with a gerund. Also show the ability to shift your parts of speech, change the part of speech. These are all different ways that you can improve your grammatical range. Now, there's one thing to understand theoretically what I'm talking about, and you're actually being able to do it under time pressure. That's why really practicing under pressure, simulating the real exam is so important. Now, graders, like I said, they love mistake-free sentences. Love it. Also, in terms of this number 2, one thing that I want to tell you guys to really work on is your parallelism. And your parallelism deals with you being able to give a list, most of the time giving a list of items. I hear so many mistakes in parallelism, right? And passive structures and relative pronouns. just be mindful, okay? Always practice like it's the real exam. Always use correct grammar. Sometimes I'll hear students say, oh, yeah, I know I messed up on my grammar, but I'm just practicing. Well, the way you practice is the way you're going to perform on the exam. Right? Are you using basic or advanced structures? I talked about this already. At the top, you see some of the higher level structures. At the bottom, you have the lower level structures, the simple sentences, just using the simple past and the simple present. Also, heavy be verb use. If all of your sentences are using is, are, was, were, has, have, having, be, being, am, if you're using a lot of be verbs, it makes you sound like you are a lower level speaker. What does it mean to be mistake-free? Right? Mistake-free does not mean perfect. It just means that sometimes you have some isolated mistakes here or there, but you frequently provide sentences that are mistake-free. Frequently doing that. Okay? When you talk about mistake-free at a lower level, is where you also are revealing a lot of just systematic foundational errors. Like in every single sentence, there's a subject-verb agreement mistake. Or every single sentence, there are mistakes in terms of word choice or word form. On here, you can see on here the 4 sentence types. And what I tried to do here was just use the same sentence topic over and over again so you can see the difference. Simple sentence. Hard work is necessary for success. Compound sentence. Hard work is important and it has advantages for all who partake. Complex sentence. Hard work is important because it enables anyone to surpass their goals. Compound complex sentence. Hard work is important and it is beneficial for everyone because it enables them to surpass their goals. Okay? If you have mastery over these 4 types, you're in really good shape. Okay? So, how do we expand our grammar range? Look here. Do you live in a big city or a small town? Band 5. I am making my home in a big city. Band 7. I'm making my home in Casablanca, a sprawling city located in the center of Morocco. Band 9. For 2 years and counting, I've been making my home in Casablanca, a sprawling metropolis located in the center of Morocco, and I plan to remain settled in this city for the foreseeable future. Do you see the difference? Right? Here, when we're talking about expanding your grammatical range and changing the parts of speech, right? So look at this question here. Why do some people leave their job? Employees can choose a different line of work for various reasons. If a worker's salary fluctuates slightly from month to month, the wage earner might seek employment elsewhere. This slight fluctuation in salary can make a big difference if a staff member has a household to manage. When we talk about changing parts of speech, we're talking about going from fluctuate slightly to slight fluctuation. That's impressive. Being able to do that within the context of the exam, showing how you can shift parts of speech, that's what we're talking about there. Relative pronouns. Relative pronouns really help you to put sentences together, to combine information, right? So I see a lot of students just speaking in these short, little, simple sentences. When you do that, you're not helping yourself, right? People want to know, how can I move up the band? That's what you're always trying to do. You're always trying to move up the rubric. So on the left there, you can read about this. These are just some definitions of what a relative pronoun is. So what are the benefits of not changing jobs? Band 5-6, workers like security. Workers like relationships. These things make them feel they have a better chance not getting fired. So they do not change jobs. Now, are all those sentences grammatically correct? Yes, they are. Are they band 5 to 6 sentences? Yes, they are. Because you're just not able to put information together, to combine details together. That's a higher skill level. So, look here. Employees who desire security and long-term relationships have a lower risk of termination and therefore maintain their current employment. Much, much better. Much higher level work. Parallelism. There's the definition of parallelism on the left. All right, here are some student responses using parallelism so you can understand what I'm talking about. How can an employee be successful at work? Incorrect. Successful people tend to plan their day, working long hours, and they never give up. This is wrong because we have 3 different types of grammar structure. We have the infinitive, a gerund, and a full clause. That is not proper parallelism. That's why you're not able to move above a band 7. Correct. Successful people tend to plan their day, work long hours, and never give up. That is proper parallelism. Prepositional phrases, right? Starting with prepositional phrases. Here we go. Since the beginning of the 2000s, cell phone technology has advanced by leaps and bounds. After the next decade, will be far too late to initiate any change in our current direction towards extinction. With regards to the idea that the planet will heal itself, that may be true, but it can also entail it also can entail our no longer existing as a part of that healing process. Here are all of your verb tenses here. And I put it in a really simple form, right? Just so you can really understand. 12, right? There's 12 verb tenses. Show that you can use those perfect tenses. Thank you very much for listening to this video. And now we're going to move into the last part of these band descriptor videos and talk about pronunciation.